you were accused at one point of sneaking a key into the jail.
Oh man, the biggest bullshit ever, man.
So that wasn't true. Because as I thought about it, I was like, I mean, he seems like a smart guy. That doesn't really sound like something that would really happen.
The biggest bullshit ever. I'll tell you the story.
Because what's the key gonna do?
Right.
Like you get out of one cell.
It was the most.
I know it's a
ridiculous
different
story.
key for all the other doors, in the okay.
It was the most ridiculous story ever, man. But I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
So this is around the time when my wife blew trial. Remember I told you earlier we had a wedding planned.
Right.
Booked the yacht, everything. She blew trial. We lost all of that. Wedding canceled. So we said, okay, we're going to have to get married while you're in prison.
Right.
So you're able to have a ceremony on Rikers Island at this time.
Okay.
Myself, my mother-in-law, and my mother, 3 of us, we come to the facility. The wedding is set up. We come in. So I got my keychain. You know how you have like a skeleton key on your keychain?
Yeah.
Bullshit skeleton key. So when you go to, I don't know if you ever visit anybody in prison, probably not.
Sadly, haven't. No.
Right. So when you come, you gotta. It's like you're going into. Nowadays, they got metal detectors everywhere, so it's a metal detector.
Right.
You go, you put your phone in there, you put your keys in the tray. The guy says, "Hey," picks up my key. "Hey, you can't have this in here." I'm like, "All right, no problem." He like, "You want me to throw it in the garbage?" I say, "Yeah, go ahead." He drops it in the garbage can. It's a process. So myself, the 3 of us, they let us through. We get on the bus and we go over to the facility. So now Remy has to come out and we do the wedding ceremony. They say, "Hey, the wedding is canceled," and they throw me in a cell.
What?
Yes, a fucking skeleton key, bro.
Just because of that. And
So-
they didn't even have any evidence that this skeleton key might.
This how you know it was bullshit. I would have been arrested if I did some shit like that.
Right.
They threw me in a bullshit holding cell for like 2 hours. Then they said, "All right, you can go." When I leave, I get off the bus to go back to my car. It's fucking paparazzi. It's news channels. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Next thing I know, I get back home, or the next day, I fucking open the newspaper. Papoose tries to break Remy out of prison. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Right.
I come here with my mother and my mother-in-law to break somebody out of prison with a fucking
Right.
skeleton key.
So much of this makes so little sense to me the more I started thinking about it. Yeah.
You know, when Sean Bell was shot in New York 50 times by the police,
Right.
I made a song called 50 Shots. I marched with Al Sharpton 50 blocks. I did so much charitable things, you know what I'm saying? A congressman by the name of Major Owens took a liking to me early. I would speak out against all injustice. So they hated me. They used that shit as a moment to just kill me in the papers. After that, I shot a music video. A guy brought an ambulance truck that we could use in the video. The next thing you know in the papers, Papoose cons ambulance driver to use ambulance truck for negative rap video. I'm like, what the fuck?
What?
Like they would find a reason to put me in the papers and destroy me.
Wow.
And it kind of, you know, it made me look at things a little different because I stood up and I spoke for so many people. But at that time, I needed some people to speak up for me about how they was just slandering me in the media for no reason. And nobody did it.
But also, it'll make you never believe another story that you read in the news.
Oh,
again.
right. Oh,
You'll
yes,
always
yes.
think in the back of your head, well, maybe this shit is just completely taken out of context because I
Right.
know what they're willing to do to get a story.
They would kill me in the media back then.
Yeah.
Around the time when my wife flew, they would kill me. They would kill us. Like,
Right.
forget about it. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
That's so crazy. I feel like that's something that the media has in common with the Love and Hip Hop producers, where it's like sometimes it feels like they're trying to sort of throw you under the bus for content.
Well, I haven't had that experience on there, to be honest. Other people did. I can't disagree with you.
Other people, 100%.
Yeah,
I just felt like I saw like little things that I was like, man, you got to show them a little bit more respect here.
Yeah, me, I didn't have a bad experience. I've made more money on television than I ever made in music. And I was able to show the positive side, you know what I mean, of my people and how we live through television. I can't lie. I expected to get clowned when I did it. You know what I mean? When I really let them put a camera into my life and show how we was living, and people loved it. I guess people was tired of seeing us being made a fool of on television.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's just, I think people like seeing that example of this is what 2 grown-ass people getting together and building something
Right.
bigger than themselves is. Like this is what it really looks like on camera, because a lot of times like in the media and on TV and stuff, they don't really want to show that of a rapper. They want to show a rapper in his crazy ass stage of his life where he's getting into beefs with people and shit like that. The part of his life where he actually builds something bigger than himself with a woman is.
And guess what? I was very proud of that, because before that, like you said, they didn't want to show it of rappers, and rappers didn't want to show it of themselves. I feel like, not to toot my own horn, but beep beep, after me and my wife showed Black Love on the screen, you see so many rappers and artists aren't afraid to hold their lady's hand in public, to show love to their significant other. It's cool now.
And you know, they fake relationships for shade room and shit now too. Academics was telling me the other day about how much of that is going on, and I was like, what the fuck?
And you know what? You know what's the saddest part? It don't last, man.
Yeah.
It don't last.
I mean, the rap music is a weird ass game when you have people faking beefs / like aggravating beefs to get attention to eventually stream more, or even faking relationships to just down the road stream more. I'm like, this is some weird shit, right?
It is, man. You know, but on a positive note, we was able to influence. I feel like we played a major part in, you know, the whole couples thing.
Yeah. 100%. That is a good thing. I think that's the internet too in general, is that the internet makes it easier and more pleasurable to see real life. Whereas like that whole thing of like the fantasy of like a rapper, you know, being 45 and still single and still living like he's an 18-year-old.
It's ridiculous.
Like, it's not really cool at the end of the day. And if it's a lie, that's whack too. You know?
It's whack, man. It's so whack. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a false narrative that they was putting out there. Everybody had to seem available. Right. You know what I mean? And that's not the truth, man. You know, you have money over bitches. Like, you got a mother, my man. Yep. You have a daughter. You know, I always say, treat your lady how you would want somebody to treat your daughter. Sometimes
I think we take it for granted how much shit has changed in hip hop. And I was thinking about that when I was watching, it might have been the Nothing But a G Thing video or whatever, where there's a skit where basically a girl who's at the party gets sprayed with a bunch of bottles of champagne by everybody, and like the whole joke is basically that everybody's just like laughing at this dumb girl who got owned by all these guys. And I was just thinking, I'm like, man, this shit seems so whack to me as an adult. And it's pretty crazy that we don't even think about the fact that shit has changed so much, you know?
It's changed a lot, man. And you know, I'm glad it changed for the better in that aspect, because come on now, we got to do better.
Yeah, 100%. Especially there's people with kids and stuff. It's like, how long can you pretend to have no moral compass?
Right, exactly. Some people, I guess they need that, like you said, to stream or to seem relevant. You know, I respect the artists that don't need that. You know what I mean? Or no gimmicks.
I like, so when did you come up with the idea for the Black Love brand? Because I feel like that is a kind of genius move on your part, that you're building up the value of this brand through wearing the stuff on the show, and then also that it's kind of like a constant reminder that I think that you guys doing the show together is important, because it shows what people having a serious relationship like this is, and what it really looks like. I feel like you wearing the hat was kind of like a brilliant move on the part. Yeah,
the whole thing happened by default, to be honest with you, man.
I kind of wish it was a Thuggication hat. But, you know, it is what it is, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. It happened naturally, man. I swear to you. And that's part of the reason why I think people fell in love with, I think they know when it's fake, but I think part of the reason why they fell in love with our story and our relationship was because they seen it on their own. We didn't try to force it or put it out there. Right. You know, one time when my wife was locked up, I had an interview with Double XL, and they was like, "Hey, we want to come follow you for the day." And I was like, "Well, I'm going to go shopping, food shopping, to get my wife some food." Okay, we're going to come film it. And they actually filmed me with like these big grocery bags and shit. And when that article came out, people started to see, and they kind of fell in love with the story. They started to follow it. So Love and Hip Hop started reaching out, and they was like, "Hey, we want you on the show." And we was like, "No, they throw drinks on each other on the show."
Yeah, right.
And if somebody throw a drink on one of us, it's going to be a problem. So we said no. But eventually, when my wife came home, we decided to do it. And Black Love was just my way of life. People just didn't know it. They just knew Papoose the rapper and Remy walk around the metal detectors. They didn't know that we was actually in a relationship, a marriage, have children, and we really live in a civilized home.
You just reminded me of how hard that bar was. And I walk around. You walk around the metal detectors.
Right. So Black Love was actually our way of life, and I was just wearing it because that was what I represented. So like you get a tattoo. Yeah. It represents me. So I put it on a hat and I was wearing it, and everybody was like, "Yo, how can I get one?" I was like, "Oh shit, okay, maybe I need to be selling these things."
Yeah,
So that's how it came.
for sure. But you've been selling a lot of that stuff, or do you feel like the fan base has come along with it?
Yeah,
for sure?
they actually did really good. To be honest with you, you know what I mean. People embraced it, and yeah.